Breaking Out by Marge Piercy is another extract from our syllabus which tries to extend help towards women who are victimized by the domestic violence. Yes, we are talking rightly in terms of protests and in demand for fair justice and treatment for women. Let's have a look at the summary of the poem, Drudgery at Home. Here, the poet Marge Piercy is actually trying to explain the drudgery faced by a small child at home who is told to do and carry out the household chores which she is not interested in doing. Beatings with a wooden stick. Yes, she's been beaten up with wooden sticks at times by her mother, who actually demands her to do the household chores like cleaning of clothes, ironing them, and ironing of the clothes that the poet feels that is not required to iron as well. Yearning for freedom. Here, the poet is talking about her first political act. Yes, the first political act for yearning of freedom. She feels that as she grows up, she will definitely move out of this somber wherein she'll be treated nicely and she will not be beaten and taken out of this dullness and flamboyant, unwanted routine of hers. The political act. The political act here that she first political act she talking about is breaking the stick that she was beaten with. She realizes that this stick was even weaker than what she as an individual was. It was not just of rebellious nature, it was an advancement to her own freedom, not a decision taken in her adolescence. Now let's have a look at the better part of the summary. This poem deals with the broad genre of female empowerment, displaying first the bonds which society holds to her and the domesticity of her situation. When she attempts to defy these bonds, she is punished by society, an individual being forced to succumb to society's expectations. Yet somehow these punishments serve only to empower her and propel her towards escaping society, and she manages to do such a thing in the end. Displaying the power and agency granted to an individual, if not a clear-cut escape, then at least an intellectual escape through enlightenment. Firstly, the domesticity which is forced upon women by society is movingly and alarmingly demonstrated. Yes, in this poem, the poet Marge Piercy is trying to alarmingly demonstrate and illustrate the domesticity that the women are forced out with. Like a woman is actually expected to keep a house clean, carry out with normal household chores every day, and cook food for her husband. These are the domesticities that are being highlighted. Moving on, already in the beginning of the use of the word gossip brings to mind feminine connotations, as it is seen as something which females do. The images of a mangle for ironing conjure images of female domesticity, ironing and doing the housework. Significantly, the items ironed are things that the author never thought needed it, already presenting the underlying rebelliousness of the author. The fact that her father's underwear is a part what she has to iron serves to further underscore the patriarchal hierarchy of the situation, being forced to work for her father in this manner. Yes, here the poet is trying to bring out the patriarchal hierarchy of the situation, wherein the poet and the speaker is supposed to face a lot of examples in terms of being forced to work for her father and iron the clothes that she already feels are already ironed or do not require any ironing. Evidently, this repressive image of the woman being forced upon the narrator is something that she is highly dissatisfied with, a demonstration of the individual thus attempting to overcome society. The language used to portray the nature of this domestication and suppression of a woman is scathing and attacking, describing the vacuum, a symbol of housework, of the woman's place in the world, as a stuffed sausage bag that deflated hardly imagery that is flattering in any way. Now here they are trying to portray a very normal nature of domestication, and the symbol of domestication here is being used is a vacuum cleaner. That is a symbol of housework that a woman is expected to use in her place in the world. Such a description already hints at the difficulty that she as the individual has reconciling with the demands for the society. Now, here the poet is trying to explain the demands of the society from a woman and her difficulties in reconciling or carrying out these tasks. This is made all the more clear when she juxtaposes herself, someone who would never dust or sweep after I left home, to her mother, someone who has been ensnared in society's wishes and willingly follows them. Her mother is compared to removing daily the sludge the air lay down like a snail's track, the sludge evoking a slow, disgusting nature that mirrors her sentiments about the nature of the society. Here, the poet is actually trying to explain that the girl's mother will do and carry out these daily domestic tasks and will stick to them, as these are certain duties that she feels are ensnared in her society's wishes. She scrubs on raw knees, signaling the pain of being subsumed under the society. The image of Sisyphus is particularly important here, as his is a story of constant toil without relief, and this continuous rolling the boulder up the hill mirrors the meaninglessness and pain that her mother faces. The degradation of the women is heavily and painfully apparent and leaves no doubt as to the effects of the oppression of society and the reasons she wants to transcend her place in it. Yes, the speaker and the child, they actually want to move out of all these situations. She wants to transcend to a freedomful environment and not follow these daily course that she is forced to do so. However, we can see that the individual's attempt to break out of society meet with heavy obstacles and is repeatedly punished by society. This compounded by the fact that even her mother, suffering under the weight of society's demands, uses the stick more fiercely than her father, almost as if she is ashamed at her daughter's failure to conform as she did. The stick itself is described as a product of the hobnobbing doors, the image from earlier now mixing with those of a higher social status. I don't really know what this means, but it sounds really important, the use of hobnobbing. The stick is used as a tool of punishment for her being truly wicked, presumably in the shirking of the duty that society has prescribed her. The very fact that the stick is a ruler is perhaps a pun on how society is attempting to rule her life by beating her into submission. Yes, here the poet is trying to explain that the woman that she was talking about is beaten into submission with the help of a ruler, just so that she can pull up the daily chores and daily work. However, through the beatings come her chance for salvation, and society's power over her is eventually nullified. There is some sort of catharsis. Through the beatings and the oppression of society offer her an escape, perhaps because the more she gets oppressed, the more she feels the need to get out of the system. The red and blue mountain ranges seem to offer escape, signifying how the effects and results of the beatings were not just the physical marring of her body, but also the provision of roads I could travel to freedom. Symbolically, she chooses to start the next paragraph with "when I was 11", showing that she had indeed grown, grew being the qualifier for her escape to freedom. By smashing the ruler to kindling, she effectively dismantles society's ability to oppress her and keep her weighted down, symbolizing very clearly the escape that she has made and the individual's ability to overcome the boundaries which society placed upon her. Kindling, remember, is something like firewood and perhaps signifies the spark to the fire that will burn within her, or something like that. There is nothing left to measure her pain, and remember that her pain comes from the oppression of society so effectively that it's gone. She has power gained. She is no longer Sisyphus, stuck in that never-ending cycle. She has learnt to break the monotony and the continued presence of the situation. The world she knows is good. That's all for the day. All the best for your exams.